Alright, so welcome back. Hoping you're having a fabulous day here today. We're talking about the best units you can kind of pair with Summer ANIS, right? Because we have a character here that's really good, right? But people are like, how do I build her? How the hell do I use her to kind of a very effective range to where she's really strong, but I don't accidentally ruin her kit? Because yes, a lot of characters can ruin her kit due to the fact that a lot of characters have max ammo up and stuff like that. So today I thought I'd talk about it, and also it will change a lot of your team comps you may be running. So today, be prepared for it. And again, if you don't have these units, I'll try to substitute some other units you can kind of replace with. So with that, let's jump into it. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe helps out a ton. Let's hop over there and let's check it out. So I will be using Pride One here to go through characters much faster than going through in-game because there's loading times and in-game has loading times. But for this, it depends on what you're running. Do keep that in mind also. There are many different teams that are currently being used. There's more so DPS heavy teams, correct? Which, let's say, let's build a quick DPS team here. I opened up a bunch of tabs I'm trying to see. So in a capacity, if you're running like a DPS team, theoretically you'll use Dorothy in burst 1, all right? Because if you're running Dorothy in burst 1, who's your healer, correct? And it comes to a point where people are testing, they're like, okay, I can do great, but I die constantly, right? They're getting shredded, they don't have really a sustained unit, if you will. But if you want to run like a full-fledged, DPS team, you run a burst 1 like Dorothy, correct? Another burst 1 option that usually people use is litter, but this is why you cannot use litter. People are asking like, why can't I use litter? It's a great character. It should make her even better, correct? No, because in her kit she does have a max ammo up. I think it is what skill is it? So it must be this one, right? Where is it? This is max ammo capacity up by 48% for 5 seconds, correct? She has that in her kit, which is going to kind of ruin your character. You do not want a character that can ever max ammo up, because Summer ANIS always works off of last bullet that hits on the skill 2 will deal that massive final attack damage, correct? That is why running a character, and this is why the team comps have been set up, unless you're at level 9, which is hard to achieve, so I don't want to run that as a point, but Privity needs to be used. Because of Privity's skills, she allows you to drop ammo capacity once again, and boom, you destroy, because it's forcing ANIS to be in a 1 bullet area where she's just firing, not stopped, right? Which is very, very strong. So for a burst 3 slot, this is why Privity's eating it up. She's just swallowing up that burst 3, which is true. Unless you're at level 9, this is what you're going to be needing to use if you want to maximize her damage, correct? That is pretty much the 2 basic points, all right? Burst 1 for a DPS team kind of is Dorothy. Simple as that. People are also trying volume as a burst 1. I think it's a 20-second burst also on this character, so it's actually pretty good too. But again, it depends if you actually want to run volume. She's over here. Her burst 1 is 20 seconds. Yeah, cooldown 20 seconds down here. Yeah, so another strong character. This one works too. If you want to run it, you definitely can. If you want to go for a sustain, right? So you need to fill that burst 1. Who is the sustain character? I do think Pepper's a very good character to help you sustain and keep your team alive. So that is there. Plus, again, people now can run almost a semi-full summer team. They're using Pepper now constantly. And yeah, she's a very good character, a very good healer, and very good whatever. That's going to be there. And her kit kind of works at full capacity, if you will. But you do have a character that's also a 20-second burst 1, which is what you need. You need a burst 1 that is 20 seconds, because most of the team comps is a singular burst 1 unit, and then 3 maybe burst 3s, or rather 2 burst 2s, and then 2, right? That's usually how the team is being built. So it's usually 1 burst 1, which leaves you with a lot of characters that are 20 seconds. Can't use a 40-second one because you're not going to reach full burst at max capacity. But again, it's Summer Mary. Wherever the hell she is, I'll just search. She's right there. It's Bay Goddess. Her name is that Bay Goddess Mary. But over here, another 20-second cooldown. Very strong healer. Thing is, the rest of her kit is useless, correct? Because it has to be the strong element, and really, in most cases, only Privity's getting that buff if you're running that team, because there's not really another water character, I think, that you're using as burst 2 and whatnot. So realize that now that, again, half of her kit is being locked away, but that heal is very strong. Hence why I used it in my video originally, because the heal is pretty good. So for burst 1 slots, you're kind of relegated to using someone as a healer, which is, again, Big Goddess Mary. Someone as Dorothy, which is a full DPS team with less and less sustain, which is also true. There is the fact that you can also kind of use volume. That's there too. Again, no sustain. Pepper, another sustain unit, keeping you alive and healing. And I know I keep using sustain, but just healing, you know what I mean, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So do keep that in mind. But there's that. All right, so that's like the burst 1 slot. If I forgot anything, you're more than welcome to correct me. But that's mainly what I'm kind of going for. For burst 2 slot, I can just actually filter while I'm doing this to cut down some options. for burst 2, going through it, I already opened up a bunch of tabs. Like, some of the better characters really are masked. Masked is going to be very good if you're trying to run a guillotine team, which, again, I said originally Masked needs some help. Summer ANIS is kind of that help. You're buffing the team super well. That guillotine actually is hitting some really high damage because of that. But again, people are like, why would I run guillotine team? Which, okay, fine, you might be true. But you also are buffing Scarlet, and Scarlet is another great character at the burst 3 slot. So for burst 2, you're getting a very powerful character here, which is very nice. Again, a character that, again, let's say you're running a DPS team. Quincy is actually a healer also, and she's a burst 2, and she's pretty strong. Realize that now that, again, you have this over here. You first have got the max HP buff over here, crit damage buff over here, attack up over here. Then you have this also for this, but for whatever it is, Quincy's another very strong contender for the burst 2 category, which is super nice. Novel, I've heard a lot of people testing with and actually getting big, like, damage and kind of team comps. Again, up to you if you want to run this as a burst 2, definitely could. And then also you can always relegate it down to like the basic burst 2 characters that every team kind of uses. Dala's there. I think she doesn't have any max ammo up, right? Yeah, Dala works, correct? Okay, there's that. Rupee works. That's one character that I've been running a lot because she's actually very strong, very good. Again, a character that a lot of people have already invested into, so not really changed from the norm. That also works very well, so keep that in mind. Rupee's another great character to fit into that burst 2 slot. Anybody else? Polly, I heard a lot of good things about also. Blanc, being run on her own, okay? You have to understand that it's a 40-second cooldown, correct? Is that what it is? So 60 seconds actually. You get a 40 reduction. So a 60 second, that means you need to run up another burst 2. If you're planning to do that and run Blanc, you gotta run another burst 2. Yes, you can run Noir. You have to realize that Noir and Blanc don't work on this team because you can't buff ammo, and Noir's entire purpose is to buff ammo. So if you're running it, you have to run Blanc solo and somebody else, but again, that is a 60-second cooldown. So you have to somehow make that work, okay? Do keep that in mind if you're trying to run that. It's gonna be a little bit hell, all right? So there's that. But beyond that, again, I would say like for this kind of slot, it's Dala, it's Masked, two of the very strong, really strong characters. Novel also being a really another good character. Quincy, Rupee, these are kind of more so the top contenders. Biscuit also, forgot about this. Biscuit's a great character too. People are doing some great things with her. So this is another one to actually put down. Biscuit's another great burst 2 contender, so you can fill the slot. Again, it depends on how you're building your team. If you're building a more support team, run burst 1 as a healer. Now you need 1 burst 2 and then 3 burst 3s if you want to do it that way. If you want to do 1 burst 1, 2 burst 2s, 2 burst 3s, that also works. Depends, correct? Most people are kind of running when they get past the part of Privity, a 1-2-2 sort of comp in a way, but 1-2-3 also. 1-1-3. That also works, right? So it's fully up to you in which one to kind of run with. But again, that's your burst 2 slot checked up. Now, burst 3, this is where it gets down to. It's pretty simply. If you do not have the ability to get your ANIS to 9, it's Privity. That's all it is. That's all your options are. Privity needs to be there. Simple as that, okay? Now, to expand that to make the team to the best of capabilities, you want to kind of go for Scarlet, because Scarlet's getting the buff. Her entire purpose is to buff Electric. Scarlet's Electric. It's going to buff her really well. So that's another character to kind of put into the mix. Yes, people are talking about, yes, Haran works too, because you're buffing Electric. It works too. That's simply put that if any character is Electric, you can kind of try with them. People are saying that no Scarlet needed, just go Guillotine. Depends. If you want to run Guillotine, you definitely could. But then again, I would recommend to have Masked on that team to make sure that she actually gets all her benefits. Isabel, people have been telling me to try her. The people that I also asked that have her invested into and built said it wasn't a bad team comp, but they are not giving me like, you know, colorful feedback like, oh, it's like the greatest thing ever, right? So I can't really tell you too much about this and how this exactly works. I don't want to like run that as a point, but again, you can try it, see how it goes. Anyone that's Electric will basically help you a lot. Noir will not work. Modernia will be fine if you want to run that as a thing to take care of projectiles or whatnot. If you already have her built very well, go ahead. That's a fine burst 3. Mainly, I would say that if you're trying to like separate out your teams, run a healer that you don't run usually as burst 1. People are usually using like Dorothy, Litter, or maybe Rapunzel, the 40-second cooldown because you're running a different comp. Then at this point, you're left with Summer Mary, Pepper. Technically, if you're not using Dorothy, it's Dorothy also. So again, those are your burst 1s that can kind of create you a new team. Burst 2, you have Quincy. Most people aren't using Quincy normally. Most people aren't using Masked normally. That's another team. Novel, maybe you want to run that. It also is not kind of used outside of that. If you want to remove your Scarlet off of your Scarlet team, you can actually run that here. You can run a sort of, Guillotine, Masked, Scarlet, ANIS, and then whatever we want for burst 1 team, that also works. So there's a lot of options, correct? There's a lot of team building you can actually go through with, but any character that raises ammo, that's what you want to avoid. Just keep away from it, right? Over here, Rabbit Twins B, correct? This is the passive. So I believe that actually if you have the Rabbit Twins, then this gets buffed. But again, is it worth running Noir by herself without this? That's the thing, correct? Because if you don't have Rabbit Twins, does this not work now? So then is it worth it? But you're losing a part of the kit. I'll actually check that. I want to test that out. That's a good thing to just remember. I want to test that. But again, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want to do for team building. For burst 3 slot, you have Scarlet, you have Isabel if you want to try it, Haran if you want to try it. Mainly, I would say that Scarlet and Guillotine kind of take it up. If it's not, if you don't have a level 9, you need Privity. So it's Privity and Scarlet being your main 2 kind of contenders. Let's say you don't have Scarlet, just use anybody that's a strong DPS, correct? Use, if you want to, like, you don't care for multiple teams, run Modernia. You don't care for, if you don't have Modernia at that point, how can Sugar do? Sugar's not a bad character either. I don't know if she actually, so reload speed up, max ammo up, so you don't want Sugar, right? You do not want this. Max ammo capacity up, so you can use that. I think Drake actually gives max ammo up too. Max ammo up. This affects self though. Affects self, max ammo up for 10 seconds. So maybe you can run Drake. It's the verse 3 slot, right? She has no other max ammo, deals damage, hit rate up, attack up. So maybe that's another contender for the burst 3 category. But again, that's mainly what I wanted to get through. Hopefully you got at least a lot of advice here in this video and it helped you with team building. But yeah, that's currently where it stands. And yeah, let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This became super long, but I'll try my best to cut it down. And yeah, what you think? Let me know. That's been it. I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, peace, and enjoy. That's been it from me. And yeah, take care and enjoy. Have fun.